so exercise 4. If you go to the beginning of the exercise, it always tells you. Oh, okay. So right in the beginning of this one, it says go to in the getting started window, right? So I'm going to close this. Sure, I'll save my template. And then I'm just going to open ArcMap again. And what they're talking about, I remember this confused people last year, is the getting started window is that window I was talking about that pops up right when you open ArcMap. And by the way, if you already know how to do all this, you're welcome to start on the exercise. I would suggest, I think I'm going to go through a lot of stuff that you'll want to see, but if you already know, what the heck. Okay, so this is what it's the getting started window they're talking about. And on here, there's a templates, North America. And then scroll down to the letter ANSIA. Portrait. Okay. So to be honest, I don't really use that very often in work, but some of the stuff they do in the exercise is a little bit like just in order to use all of the different things ArcMap does, they have you do that. So sometimes I'll tell you don't really have to do it. But the next step after that is they're going to have us work with the default geodatabase, which is interesting. It's okay. They are going to say in ArcMap, they've already gotten, like in the previous exercises, they've given an intro to Arc Catalog, so they're kind of assuming you know a little bit of that, so let me know if you have trouble with anything. But it says click the Browse button to go to the default geodatabase, or next to it up here. Oh, darn it. Yeah, I know. I hit OK. I messed up. This isn't even really what I want to show you. I just want to show you the data, but whatever. Okay, North America. SIA, portrait. Do not click OK yet. Navigate to the, oh, no, click the, so that's the other thing. It's really easy to miss a step in these exercises, but read every single line. And if you have a question, every time I go to answer a question, I just go back up 4 steps and I find the answer to the question. So it's a little bit, there's just a lot packed into each one of the lines, I think, sometimes. Click the Browse. Okay, so the default geodatabase is going to be sometimes in an ArcMap document, instead of having to scroll to a database every time, you can set up the default geodatabase, which just means that like there are some functions where it'll just default to this database. So it makes it easier, so you don't have to go pick it each time. So what we're going to do, this is the Browse button they're talking about. And they're going to say, navigate to the MGIS data / Oregon folder. And if you guys, I'll show you what I got on the PDFs that I sent, unless you guys have that ready to go. Do you have the PDF? Oh, you printed out. Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. All right, good. Yeah, so you're following along.
But I don't that's what it looks like. It doesn't say
It's on the 4th one here. Right there.
no, that does that on my screen.
Oh, sure, yeah. Sorry. So we're going to have to navigate to it. So we hit the Browse button, and then, okay, now it's nice that we've set up these folder connections, and this is, but we're going to have to sometimes navigate to data on our computers, right? So what we're going to do is we can click on this drop down, and you can see our folder connections are right here, right? And so every time it refers to MGIS data, it's that folder that we extracted. So we can just go to that nice little shortcut we made, and this is where the data is. This will unlock the exercises, basically, because then it says /Oregon, and it's like, oh, great, there's Oregon. And then it says click Add. And then it says, click. Oh, that's weird. Oh, see, I didn't read the whole line. That's every time. And click the Oregon Data Geodatabase to highlight it, and then hit Add. And then hit OK. OK. And then it wants me to save that. But point was, that's how the book often tells you to get to the data. Is they'll say like MGIS data / some folder. That's what they're talking about. So they're gonna have you when you have the default geodatabase. Like, oh, I guess it's not using that. All right, good. Okay. So anyway, we have this MGIS data as well, and so every time it refers to data, we can also go into Oregon, and you can see that this one's highlighted, and it's got a little home on it. That means it's the default one, and we can open it up, and we can look at all the GIS data that's in that geodatabase, and they're gonna, start going through like adding this, and I'm hoping this is where your GIS will come back a little bit, is like just at least being able to go into a database and drag in whatever it wants you to work on. So, go ahead.
Where is the map documents folder something that is in here, or that we're supposed to?
Save the map document in the map document. Yeah, it's probably something they had us set up in a previous exercise. The map document is the MXD, so like this thing, regardless of the data that it's looking at, is called a map document or an MXD. So we can, if it says save that, we can just save it anywhere. But I would say that's one of the reasons I had to put an exercise folder. So for each time you start an exercise, and we'll do this the next time as well, go in, exercises, and then make a new folder, exercise 4, and then I'll go in there and I'll just start saving things as maybe, if this is the first section, I don't know, this section's called Exploring Symbols. So I'll just save that. And now just to go through it, so again, in my folder here, I just saved something in the exercises folder. I just made a new folder in there, exercise 4. And then in there, you can see I have this MXD now, which is right next to my data folder, so it's all nice and organized in my Spring GIS class folder. And you'll notice a pattern. Every time we get data, we'll put it in the data folder. Every time we work on an exercise, we'll work on it in the exercise folder. And then other projects that we work on, we'll put in the projects folder. It's basically how it'll work. Now, there's going to be, since we're not doing the book exactly like start to finish, like the way that they want, there will be times where it's like, what are they talking about? But hopefully, when we hit those things in class, I'll take a look and just make a call. We'll move on. But if you hit that stuff, that's the kind of thing. If you just sat down to work on it for the next 3 hours and like you get stuck at something like that, feel free to email, text me, something like that. Okay, we're just about to the thing I actually wanted to show you.